All right, good evening, everyone. Appreciate everyone coming out tonight for tonight's meeting. It's my honor to call the Monday, November 18th, 2024 Royal Oak City Commission meeting to order. We're going to begin with an invocation given by Commissioner Cheatham, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask that you stand if you can, please.
At the City Commission meeting before Thanksgiving, it would make sense to talk about gratitude, but actually tonight I would like to talk about generosity. Each Thanksgiving, I tell a story about generosity. I was about 25 years old. My best friend from growing up and I were living in a city far from our families. We decided to cook a small Thanksgiving dinner for a few friends. The only problem was that in the hustle of working multiple jobs, we never got to the grocery store. So here it was, Thanksgiving morning, and we were at a convenience store in a nearby suburb asking if they knew of any open grocery stores. A woman who was there buying ice asked us what we needed. We replied, everything. She told us to follow her and she led us to her house. She introduced us as her new friends to her family and she treated us that way. She gave us a full uncooked turkey and instructions on how to cook it, a bunch of side dishes, a can of olives for an appetizer, and a tray of assorted desserts. She wouldn't accept any money. It was all out of kindness, out of generosity. Each year, I think of her family and I strive to be as kind and generous and open to strangers as she was. But I know I fall short. Generosity is actually really challenging. It can make you feel vulnerable. There are so many examples of Royal Oak residents acting in ways of true generosity toward their neighbors and toward strangers. It is one of my favorite aspects of the city. As we approach this holiday season, I encourage all of us to focus not only on gratitude, but also on being vulnerable enough to be generous to others. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Commissioner Cheatham, that was excellent. I will take those words. All right, that gets us to item 4 tonight, which is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone wish to make a motion on the agenda as presented? Commissioner Colo? Moved as presented. Okay, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Hunt. All right, any discussion on the agenda? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Next on our agenda is the Veterans Events Committee presentation of the WROK 22 March check. We have tonight with us Mr. Wandoff, the chair of the Veterans Event Committee, and he'll be presenting a check to Mr. Bray from the John Dingle VA Medical Center. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, once again, just a real quick thing for all of there know where to go.
Yeah. It's typically hard to hear you anyways.
Once again, Dave Wandoff. I'm the chairperson of the Veterans Event Committee. And today we are going to honor our veterans and support them with some support that we had from local businesses, our neighbors, our friends, and things of that nature from the WROK 22. First and foremost, I want to give a couple shout outs to some of our donors here. So this year was a little bit different. We didn't charge anyone to do this. We focused on charitable donations and trying to get more and more people to come out there and just support this and become aware of mental health for veterans. So the WROK 22 is to represent the 22 service members that die every single day, dying by suicide. So it's a terrible thing, and it's really disheartening. Anyone that served, I'm sure, has seen one or many more of their friends go this way, or it's just disproportionate to the military family. So this year, Arts Beats and Eats gave $2,500. Give Thanks Bakery, which is just downtown, $500. Canadian Legion, $300. Shar Douglas, $220.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yep. And the Canadian Legion was $300, plus with donations from people just attending the event this year, it was $1,250 for a rough total of $4,800 and about 75. So that represents about maybe 3,000 more than we did last year. So that's just absolutely fantastic that we can do all this. Also, We raised food for the VVA 154 out of Macomb County, and we were able to work with our friends at Kroger, and they also gave $1,000 in gift cards this year too to them for their for the veterans they feed. So they feed between 50 and about 65 families a month, provide them with, I think I heard, 100 and 150 pounds of food. So that's great. And they're not here today, but also thank you very much to the VFW Post, because they do assist us with this event, and they also gave a luncheon afterwards, which was fantastic. Okay, so sir, there you are. Thank you very much for all you do for our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll say a few words.
Yes, sir.
Too. So I want to thank you all for the generosity. I'm a veteran myself. I was in 2014 Afghanistan, and we can talk about how big and the importance is of mental health and things of that issue. I've had friends who committed suicide at 22 a day. Is very important. So what this is going to go to towards the mental health, the everyday help of veterans, because they're the lifeline of our country. People previous and current are why we live in today in the free world. So I thank you all. Our veterans will receive it. And if you need anything else, please reach out to me at the VA. Thank you for all your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bray.
Wait, Dave, you gotta get out then.
Yeah, I just want to thank our Veterans Events Committee, Mr. Wandoff, Bob. I know you guys work real hard to make this happen every year, and this has now been a mainstay in the city of Royal Oak. It has not been a flash in the pan. I think this has gone on for nearly a decade now, and it gets better and better every year, not just in terms of what's being raised, but also the awareness that people have about this serious, serious issue in our country. And I know you're doing incredibly good work, Mr. Bray. I had a chance to go down. Frank took us down on a tour of the VA in Detroit recently, and the work that they're doing down there, we know that the community's contributions via the WROK 22 are in good hands and are going to make an impactful difference in so many lives. And so we're grateful for all of you. We're grateful not just for the WROK 22, for your service and for your commitment to continuing to serve those who have served. So thank you so much. Yep. All right. This brings us to item number 6 tonight, which is public comment. The City Commission values and relies on the input of our fellow citizens to help us make decisions. Now is the time set aside for the public to address the City Commission on any city-related topic, whether or not it's on the agenda. I ask that comments be directed to the City Commission as a whole and not to individual commissioners. If you wish to speak tonight at public comment, please wait until recognized by me, the mayor, and then come up to the podium. For the record, you'll state your name and your address. Be mindful that the City Commission wishes to hear from anyone who wants to speak tonight, so comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, not per topic. And we have a handy timer at the podium to help you keep track of your time. If you don't wish to speak tonight, no problem. Feel free to email us, and sooner as opposed to later, so we have a chance to read your emails and bring that thought into our discussion here at the dais. Please note, we typically don't respond to questions during public comment. However, we are taking notes, and when that topic is discussed, we will try to ask those questions and get it answered. If your questions that you have tonight aren't related to anything on tonight's agenda, then please make sure that you leave your contact information with our one-of-a-kind, outstanding, amazing community engagement specialist, Judy Davids. You can see her over here, and she's willing to help get the answers and get them back to you. So with that, who's first tonight? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Nancy Sumner, and I live at 1502 Northwood Boulevard. And Northwood Boulevard has been, for the last 8 months now, been repaved. And I just want everybody to be aware that this contractor did a horrible job handling this. Number one, they staged everything at, and I don't even know the name of the park. They staged all the dirt and everything over there. Fortunately, I didn't live down there. I live further down the road where we were not able to open our windows all summer long because of the dust. The contractors, 3/4 of the time, were not out there doing any work. It was just dead silence. When they came to do the paving, they put in the speed humps on one side of the road, and the speed humps are horrible. I don't think they did a very good job. Whatever cement they used is terrible. If you go to Benjamin and look and see how they did the speed humps over there, you can notice a big difference. At the beginning, closest to to Woodward Avenue, that speed hump is 2¼ inches high. All the way down, there were different heights of the speed humps. The ones closest to my house, there was one that was 3½ inches, and there was one that was 4 inches. We do expect those speed humps to be at a height to stop the speeding. The speeding happened all summer long even when the construction workers were out there. And I asked the construction workers why they weren't shutting down the road, and they told me that the city of Royal Oak would not allow them to do that. They had to allow people to pass by. Now, most of the residents that live over there parked on the side streets when there was construction that was going on. But we had a lot of traffic coming down Northwood Boulevard, and people were still going 40 to 50 miles an hour, and they continue to do that today. And they continue to blow through the stop signs. And the most noticeable one to me, because I walk my dog in that area, is at Bonneview and Northwood. About a week and a half ago, there were some women that were walking their dogs at 6 o'clock in the morning, and there was a person coming down. They were going north on Bonneview, and they almost hit those people walking on their dogs. So I guess I ran out of time. There's other things that I wanted to talk about, but the Northwood Boulevard is horrible, and the speed humps are horrible.
Thank you, Ms. Sumner. Anybody else wish to speak tonight? Oh, yes, sir, in the back.
Wait, did I go?
Need you state your name, young man?
Oh, my name's Charlie Fournier. And I think that the parks are a really good idea. I really like them. And I like how there's so many and then you can walk to all of them. And that's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fournier.
That's all he has to say about that.
All right. Anybody else wish to speak tonight at public comment? Going once? Going twice? All right. Thank you for those speaking at public comment tonight. Appreciate you coming out. If you leave your contact information with Ms. Davids, we can get you a response.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Colo?
I know we typically don't respond to public comment, but I actually have some inside information
Okay.
on the speed humps there. Our city engineer has sent out inspectors to inspect all the humps, and they're ensuring that they were built to the right form. The humps were built with a forms to be uniform throughout. So our engineer is all over this and making sure that the final product, when the roads are completely open again, will be to our city standards and satisfaction.
Thank you, Mr. Colo, for that update. All right, that brings us to item 7, which is the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull anything off the consent agenda for discussion tonight? Okay, does anyone wish to move the consent agenda as it's presented? Commissioner Douglas? Moved? Okay. Second by Commissioner Macy. All right. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. 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 Those opposed, motion passes. All right. That brings us to item 8, which is the Michigan Liquor Control Commission license established, Bajon Inc., DBA 4th Street Brunch and Bistro, request to approve plan of operation. Chief Moore.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. The Police Department received a request from Byron Incorporated to transfer ownership of a resort Class C liquor license from ICS Management Group, which was formerly the In Season Cafe. The applicant will be doing business as 4th Street Brunch and Bistro. And if approved, they intend to operate as an American-style restaurant and bar where they're going to offer breakfast items, appetizers, salads, sandwiches, and burgers. And they anticipate their food to alcohol ratio to be 90% food to 10% alcohol. And the requested hours of operation are Tuesday through Sunday from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m., and they plan on being closed on Mondays. Total proposed interior seating will be for 77 patrons, and they are also asking for an outdoor service area for 20 patrons along the 4th Street sidewalk adjacent to the building. The applicant has been actively involved in this industry for over 35 years. It's a family-run business. 3 of his prior businesses have involved the liquor license, and he has no violation history with the MLCC. And our findings indicate that he meets the requirements necessary for this request, and the police department is not opposed to this request at all. I'm happy to take any questions this evening, and the applicant and his attorney, Mr. Peter Manny, are here as well, so I don't know if they would like to speak if you wish so, but again, happy to take questions.
Questions for Chief Moore? Any questions for Chief Moore? Okay, come on up, petitioner. We don't bite, at least usually.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. As Chief Moore was stating, Mr. Andrei is a highly qualified individual and has extensive restaurant experience dating back to 1988. He started off as a dishwasher, 2 years later worked as a cook, and he's here now opening his 9th restaurant and investing over $1 million in the city of Royal Oak. So where he started to where he is now, it's truly an American success story, and so we open it up to any questions that you may have. So thank you.
Questions? Commissioner Douglas.
Tell us more about your menu. Promote your restaurant.
Yes, good evening. First, my name is Sokol Andrei. I've been doing business for the last 14 years right in the neighborhood, so most of my customers are Royal Oak customers, 12 Mile and Stevenson, Cole's Place. And morning is going to be brunch, breakfast, sandwiches, salads, maybe here and there mimosa or Bloody Mary, but we don't push alcohol because we're a family business. It's a family affair. I work with all my kids and my wife, and from 3 to 10 is going to be bistro, some appetizers, couple steaks, couple fish, some salads, and call it a day. By 10 o'clock, go home. That's it. And it's American food with a little twist. I do all the cooking myself, chefing. And I have those 2 gentlemen right there that are my boys. They're both college educated, but they're willing to work with me, so I'm willing to do the cooking and they can manage the store.
Wonderful.
All right, great. I live like 2 blocks from there, so let me know when you're open.
Well, you've probably seen me around the building all day, every day, so, okay.
Anybody else? Commissioner Hahn.
I understand you're not pushing alcohol, but will you have like a full bar? What?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I
it will
will
not
have.
just like be wine or anything, it'll be a full?
Yes, it'll be wine, it'll be mixed drinks, everything,
Okay.
but
It's just not
the
gonna be
bar is
advertised.
9 seats.
Oh,
So if
okay.
if you want to have a dinner, a glass of wine, more than welcome, but we're not pushing, it's not a bar, it's not a hangout to get drunk. No, you're not, that wouldn't happen in there.
Sure. All right, thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Mr.
Andrea.
Andrei?
Yes.
Did I hear it correctly? You started off as a dishwasher and worked your way up, and now you have 9 establishments?
I had them.
Okay.
I sold. The last one I had in Plymouth, I had a bar pizzeria. And last year I sold 12 Mile, and now I'm trying to open this one here.
Amazing. That is
Yes.
an excellent story. That is
Yes.
exactly the type of operators that we want in the city of Royal Oak. People that are going to roll up their sleeves, work hard, provide a good product and good food. And I got to tell you, I'll confess, actually, my son and I walked the way here, and we live in that neighborhood. So we've been keeping an eye on all the improvements, and the building's looking really, really nice. I think you're going to offer a really good experience for the folks just in the neighborhood, let alone the draw you'll have from the rest of the community.
Well,
So
thank you. Thank you. That's a promise. I will. Yes. Good food and a good place to spend the evening or lunch or bring your kid out or whatever.
just don't offer all you can eat pancakes, because that kid could eat you out of business.
No, that's not a problem.
Wait, I just want to make sure if I bring my kids, I can have mimosas though for brunch.
You
That's okay,
can.
right? I
Yes,
can,
yes,
right?
you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
And I'll be pushing it because you're more tolerable then.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you. We look forward to hopefully you opening up here soon. When's the open date, the target open date?
Well, we're almost done. I got one of the gentlemen mechanical to get it done by him. I was told that he's very mean, so we'll see.
Well, if you need any help, let us know.
Mark is his name, so I don't know.
Not this.
But I'm doing it.
Not
by,
this
huh?
Mark.
No.
No, but if you have any challenges or issues or questions, I mean, we're here to help. Every one of our residents and all the small business owners
Everything
too.
is going nice.
Wonderful.
I have no issue with the city or anybody.
Good.
It's very good. Thank you.
All right. Well, you guys could take a seat. We're going to talk about it up here for a little bit, and then we'll see where it goes.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. All right. Questions, discussion, motions? Commissioner Colo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have one question just about the floor plan. I love the idea of outdoor seating there. That'll be fun to have, especially during the summertime. I guess this is just a question for staff. There is a no parking this side, like a no parking sign, and I just wonder if it's going to encumber having a pass-through sidewalk there with the fence up, and then who would look out for that? So I don't know, are we approving the final floor plan right now, or will engineering go through this before it gets
Mr.
approved?
Krachowski?
Well, like any other restaurant that wants to have outdoor dining on a public sidewalk, they'll come to us for a permit. It'll go through engineering, through CDD, and make sure that it's vetted for any of those types of issues. So, yes, they would have to go through further approvals for the sidewalk cafe approval and license.
Make sure there's enough space for wheelchairs to get through and all that stuff.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right. Any motions? Commissioner Cheatham.
I'll move approval.
Got a motion by Commissioner Cheatham, second by Commissioner Herzog. Sorry, there was a toss up there. I had to give the maker and second down that way. All right, discussion. I would say it's great to see another restaurant come in right just on the edge of our downtown, really part of our downtown, but really, servicing the neighborhood there. We have a cluster of businesses there that service the neighborhood between the hardware store, the drugstore, a number of them. And I think 4th Street's going to be really exciting here in the next short time period. So you guys are getting in early, which is a good thing. All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. That's a unanimous approval. Good luck, gentlemen. Not that you need it, because apparently you work extra hard. All right, this brings us to item 9, which is a resolution to approve the Battle of the Buildings contract with U.S. Green Business Council of West Michigan and authorize entry of city buildings into the Battle of the Buildings. Ms. Fox.
Yeah, we have essentially 2 resolutions for your input tonight. The first is the contract itself, and then we also thought it was important to seek guidance on entering city buildings into the competition. And so they're a little different, but they go together quite nicely, and Jill and I are prepared to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? Man, if I knew everyone was going to be this chill tonight, I would have put my own special projects on the agenda. Commissioner Macy.
Sorry, you're going to give us like a little overview of the program and also tell us what city buildings have been targeted and why?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have spent, oh man, I think we started in 2017, 2018, benchmarking all of the city buildings. I think we have 16, 17 buildings right now that we've been tracking energy use data on. We put forth a separate initiative earlier to continue using USGBC to benchmark those buildings moving forward. The next step would be to do audits, which we started auditing city buildings last week. And so the idea is between the audits and the benchmarking, we can get a pretty good assessment on the overall utility usage of each building and where opportunities are to improve that. And the competition kind of goes side by side. While we're looking at city buildings, the competition itself is more focused on community buildings. So we're thinking small businesses, churches, schools, organizations, pretty much any building where there is an owner, operator, that could obviously take forth the information that we would provide them through the benchmarking and the auditing services to hopefully take on energy efficiency upgrades at those buildings. As you're aware from our greenhouse gas emissions inventory, the majority of our emissions come from residential and commercial. So this is kind of our way of working with the community to help them realize their energy usage and put forth a plan to help them kind of mitigate their excess usage.
The money that's set aside, like the third, that's for programs for the buildings, does that also go to city buildings, or is that just for the buildings that are non-city buildings that are entering?
So everything that is before you tonight is for community buildings. And so we realized, kind of fortunately, that the energy audits were something that we could do for free through the Small Business Association of Michigan. And so that offset a huge expense that we were budgeting for. And so we thought, what better way to utilize those funds than to create something similar to the energy fund that we've created for city buildings, but for those community buildings. And so the idea is that once we've identified those buildings that could use those upgrades, we can offer incentives or rebates for them towards those upgrades. And so we were able to save a significant portion and then put that back into the program to better help our businesses and organizations that participate.
Mr. Colo.
Thank you. I actually have a question. There's a handful of resolutions here, and I don't know if they're out of order, but the now therefore be resolved resolution about the budget amendment 2, if I was understanding this correctly, this was net neutral, right? Because we're getting a grant for $100,000, then we're spending $100,000. Mm-hmm. This isn't a typical budget amendment, I guess, that we see. Typically, a budget amendment would come from finance. There's some more finesse behind it, but this only shows us expending, and it doesn't show any addition. So I guess my question is around where this budget amendment came from, and exactly what this is saying. And that might be for the city manager, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I brought Jill here too, and I think it has more to do with the grant funding aspect than it does like the city budget.
And I think it has more to do with that section that you guys get that has the little check boxes. And we got some direction from our new finance director and from the assistant finance director on how to complete that. And that it would be a budget amendment because you are, the money wasn't there to begin with, and because it will be expended first before you get reimbursed. I anticipate through discussions that there will be some revisions to better explain how that section does play out, because I don't think we all have the same understanding of what is intended by each one of those little check boxes.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense from a financial point of view. I could see that, especially if we're going to expend the money ahead of time before we receive it, before we get reimbursed, so to speak.
Yeah, and the idea is that we would not spend any city dollars on this program. It really will be encapsulated through the funding of that grant.
And they probably have to create its own separate little fund line item and all of that to track it as well.
Yeah, and it's a pretty new process for everyone. I think this is a little bit of a trial and error project, and so I'm appreciative everyone in kind of thinking out of the box and collaboratively on the best ways to have this kind of run through the city.
Yeah. Any other questions? Motions? Commissioner Douglas.
So are we doing these, doing this all as one action, or 2 actions, or 3 actions? Can we do it all at once? All right, then I will move approval of the 3 resolutions contained or recommended by staff. Sorry, there are 4?
Yeah.
What? Oh, I see. Yep, you're right. 4.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Douglas. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Macy. All right, discussion. I'll just say, great work, Ms. Fox, Ms. Martin. Appreciate your efforts here. This will be it's always good to learn. We'll see where it goes, but it's not going to be half bad. It's 100K or more, depending on how you look at how it multiplies in the community, and we'll see, where it ends up. Be exciting, be some headlines, encourage some others to take advantage. All right. No other discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. All right, thank you. Thank you. Up next, proposed amendments to Chapter 64 Environmental Advisory Board, second reading. Ms. Barkman.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. This evening we have the second reading for the Environmental Advisory Board, changes to the ordinance first, and then we'll do the bylaws next. As we talked about last time, there were no changes or amendments that you all made, so this still reflects the update to the staff liaison, the update to their membership number, as well as the removing of the component that said they had to meet at least 8 times a year, which was oddly specific for our boards and commissions. So those are the changes. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any this time. But other than that, this is just a second reading.
Questions? No questions tonight. All right.
Bueller.
Commissioner Herzog.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Herzog. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Hunt. Discussion? No new discussion? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. All right, that brings us to 11, adoption of the resolutions for the Environmental Advisory Board bylaws. Ms. Barkman.
Thank you. So again, over the past few months, we've been discussing the ordinance and the bylaws together with EAB. So this goes back to what feels like many years ago at this point, when we discussed our boards and commissions and wanted them all to have bylaws. So this would be EAB's first bylaws as the Environmental Advisory Board. Their previous rendition referred to them as the Solid Waste Board, correct? And so this would be their first update in a very, very long time. And so we followed the model bylaws, worked with EAB to come up with what they were interested in seeing in them and their existing kind of processes and norms, and came up with what you see in front of you. I will answer any questions that you have.
Questions for Ms. Barkman? Bless you. No questions? Motions? Commissioner Herzog.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Herzog. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Douglas. All right, discussion. I'll say thank you, Ms. Barkman. This is a tedious task with all the boards and committees that we have, and better you than me. So I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. And I mean that with the utmost compliment that I would be grossly incompetent and
I get
uninterested
it.
to do this on a tedious basis, but you're doing a great job. Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks, hopefully with another set of bylaws.
There you go. All right, that brings us to typically Commissioner Herzog's most favorite part of tonight's agenda, which is the adjournment. Notwithstanding anything for the betterment of all the people we cherish and love in our city, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Herzog?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Commissioner Herzog with some enthusiasm and excitement. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Douglas with a little less enthusiasm.
But with a happy Thanksgiving.
With a happy Thanksgiving. All right. Any discussion? All right, with none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. We're adjourned.